Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Central Europe, where it's quite rainy in this fall season. I hope everybody is doing great, having a great week so far, staying strong, staying productive. Nice to see many students already in the class. Hi, Asli Din, Surya, Khyber, nice to see you in the class. Welcome, everyone. In this class, we are looking at Task 2 writing for the writing section. It's worth 2/3 of your mark, roughly 60% of your entire writing mark. So you have to make sure to do well. Of course, do it after writing Task 1, so you're warmed up in the writing. And this lesson is going to focus on how to plan and start your Band 9 essay, okay? A little bit of planning goes a long way. I didn't say that. That's actually a saying in English. A little bit of planning goes a long way. Is everybody familiar with that term? I might as well teach that to you right now while I'm saying it again and again. So this is actually it's a saying. It's a popular kind of maybe a proverb or phrase, but it goes like this. A little bit of planning goes a long way. It means that when you plan a little bit even, you're going to do much better in the big picture. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Welcome, members. Hi, honey. Abhishek, Nikhil, Rajveer, Sammy, Maksud, Ois, and Rashika. Nice to see all of you. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. Join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for a lifetime membership. It's not really expensive at all, and you get lots and lots of help. gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. On both of those websites, you have access to practice exams, interactive courses, videos, speaking, writing help, editing help. So lots and lots there for you. This is our academic website here at aehelp.com. Click that big red button to join us. And if you want to try it for a little bit, then you can do that by clicking the green button. For general IELTS, it's the green background. Again, you can click that big red button to join us there. We welcome everyone. And we are official British Council IELTS Registration Center for Saudi Arabia. And we're in connection with British Council, so if you ever have questions, we can help you out. Just let us know. You can send me an email if you have a question to adrian@aehelp.com. That's my name, at aehelp.com. Okay, so we have lots and lots of classes for you this week. Today, Task 2. Tomorrow we'll have reading, and then we'll finish this Task 2 essay if we don't get it done today, which likely we won't. And then we'll have question and answer session for members on Saturday, and then we'll have a speaking part 2 to finish the week. So make sure you hang out with us all week long to improve your English and IELTS skills. Here we go, everyone, with today's question. This was submitted to us by one of our students. We do take requests, and we have a few requests for Task 2. So you can always send us a request. Here is the Task 2 question for today. Let's read this together. So IELTS Task 2 writing. You should spend 40 minutes on this task. Definitely spend 40 minutes. It's 2/3 of your time. It's worth 2/3 of your mark. It just makes sense, okay? All right, here we go. Let's read this now. Some people believe that the internet has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include examples from your knowledge or experience. It's a very interesting question. And it's always a good idea to find questions interesting. Okay. All right. So first step is to paraphrase the question. Paraphrasing the question is not your introduction. It's just simply a way to make sure that you understand the question and to get you thinking about the topic and the ideas. Okay? just paraphrasing the question for your introduction will not put you on track for a Band 9 essay. So go ahead, everyone, paraphrase this question, okay? Marasa already did that. I guess she prepared for this class. That's very clever, Marasa. Being prepared is a good idea. Preparation and planning will go a very long way. Marasa says, certain individuals ascertain that advanced technology has saved time while studying history and science. At what level do you support this? Illustrate your views with examples. Marasa, I don't think advanced technology is a close enough paraphrase to the internet, so you should find a more accurate term for that. Otherwise, it's good. Okay. Abhishek says, a few individuals have faith that the internet has decreased the requirement for learning evidence in history and science. Do you support or oppose this? Uma says, some individuals ascertain that the internet has cut down the necessity of learning the truth in history and science. Uma, okay. I don't know about truth or opinion, but it's kind of on the right idea. You want to do a little bit more paraphrasing. So some people, certain individuals, as Marasa paraphrase is very good. Ascertain for believe is very good. Okay. What's another way to say the internet? There we go. Hassan Mashadi says, why don't we just call it the World Wide Web? Yeah, that works. That the World Wide Web, right? WWW. Everybody knows that's what that stands for, right? World Wide Web. When you type www in the internet, you're World Wide Web. Okay. All right. Before I keep going, let's see some more paraphrasing here. Rajveer says, certain individuals ascertain that the need to acquire factual data about history and science has decreased due to the World Wide Web. Do you agree or disagree? Very nice, Rajveer. I was wondering who would come up with the idea of facts, right? So factual information. There's also another nice way to express that concept of learning science and history. Wonder if anybody else will think about that. All right. So that the World Wide Web has decreased the utility. Okay. So instead of the word need, I'm going to paraphrase that with the word utility, because need and usefulness are somewhat synonymous, right? When you need something, it's usually because you need to use it for something. So usefulness and necessity are very closely related to each other, right? If it's needed, it's likely needed because it's useful. If it's not useful, arguably it's not needed. It may be wanted, but it's not needed, okay? So certain individuals ascertain that the World Wide Web has decreased the utility of learning facts about the past and science. Okay? I'm going to keep science the same. Why not? There's some other ways to express that, but maybe a little bit too complex. Okay? Do you support? Or disapprove of this opinion? Okay. Provide evidence, or provide. Let's do it a little bit differently. So give a logical argument for your position and include examples from your own studies and past. Okay, so I did that purposefully here so that you can think about that a little bit more specifically. Okay. So here we go. This is my paraphrase. Certain individuals ascertain that the World Wide Web has decreased the utility of learning facts about the past in science. Do you support or disapprove of this opinion? Give a logical argument for your position and include examples from your own studies and past. Okay, good. So now I have a good idea of what I'm going to write about, all right? And I have some good lexical resource. So I have some words that I can use. Now maybe, not maybe, but certainly I can use some of this information in my essay, okay? But this is not my introduction, right? So keep that in mind, okay? For all people who are thinking that this is a part of your introduction, it's not a part of your introduction, okay? The examiner knows what the question is. You don't have to paraphrase it for them. So if you learned that, the introduction starts by paraphrasing the question, no, it doesn't, okay? This is not your introduction, but it will be useful for your essay. So it's not a waste of time by any means to do this, okay? All right. So what are we talking about here? Okay. What are we talking about here? So what's the topic? It's kind of it's an interesting question, and we have to identify it, okay? So what are we talking about here? What's the topic? Okay, that's your next step. So always identify the topic. You should never start writing if you don't know what the topic is, what you're writing about. Identify the topic and the controlling idea. Okay, so when you think about the topic, you should think about, what am I supposed to discuss in this essay? So what are you actually writing about? So Kyber says the internet's changes. Alex says technological advancement. Okay. Shaheen, I think that's different there. Okay. Abhishek says the internet's usage for studying facts. Pachu says studying history and science. Carolina says the use of the internet for studies. Rajveer says studying facts in history and science. Okay. Oa says net becoming school. Chetna says studying or learning. Okay, so I'm going to write a couple of these down, okay? So studying and learning, using the internet to study history and science. Kyber says learning facts through the internet. Okay. All right. So it definitely doesn't seem like we have consensus. So this is a little bit of a dangerous situation here. It seems to me like I'm going to get a lot of different essays in this case. Okay? Does it seem like that to everybody else? So when you're looking at the chat, are you thinking, I'm going to get a lot of different essays if I'm looking at the chat here? Okay, does everybody see that? Looks like I'm going to read a lot of different essays on different topics here, even though you're all looking at the same question. Okay, that's a problem. All right, that's not good. All right, we shouldn't all be writing different essays here. We should all be writing about the same topic. Okay, so Un says, yeah, that's quite confusing. Okay, let me ask you this, okay? Who is this question interested in? So let's go back to the question then. So if you feel like, I'm a little bit confused, I don't know what I'm actually really supposed to write about here, let's go back. So some people believe that the internet has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer. Okay. So who are we talking about here? Think about that. Okay. Humans are quite egocentric. If you watched my last lesson, there was kind of a hint in there. Okay. So we're talking about people. We're talking about learners, right? Okay. And yeah, Sammy, we're talking about people. Okay. And we're really talking about the need for studying facts in history and science. Okay. So some people believe that the internet has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. So what we're actually studying, or what we're actually looking at here, is the need to know facts in history for people. Okay? That's kind of the question here, with the availability of information easily accessed. Okay. Another way you could think about this is change internet to books. So some people believe that the library has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. Some people believe that books have reduced the need for studying history and science. So what we're actually discussing here is the need for people to study history and science. What's the controlling idea? Okay. So another way to think about it is, do people need to know facts about history and science intrinsically, or do we just research it whenever we need to access it? Okay. So Taleb says, okay, now I got it. Taleb says it's today's learners' need of history and science. Okay. All right. So the topic here is, let me just erase all of these confusing topics. The topic here is, and somebody wrote it there, I saw that. So the need of modern day learners to study history and science. Okay. So why? Because it's available on the internet. Okay. So what's the controlling idea? Okay. Does everybody see that now, that this essay is actually talking about the need of modern day learners? So this is our topic here, specifically to study history and science. Okay. If I wanted to kind of reduce this topic, I would reduce it to the need of modern day learners. That would be my more concise topic. But just for clarity to the question, I included to study history and science. And then what's the controlling idea? Okay. So what is the controlling idea now? Okay, the controlling idea would be the internet has made this need obsolete or not. Okay. So, yeah. So the need of modern day learners to study history and science, that's what we're talking about. And the controlling idea about it is that the internet has made this obsolete or not. Okay. All right. So let's discuss the what, why, how. That's where it's going to get even more interesting. Okay. So the first question is, what is the need of modern day learners? Okay. So what is that? All right. This is where we're going to get even more interesting. So what is the need of modern day learners? Let's kind of generalize this, okay? So remember, I've said this before, that you can think general and then go to the specific, or you can think specifically and then think more general. So planning is really important for a question like this. So what is the need of modern day learners? Or we could say, what is the need of modern day learners for science and history? But I want to simplify here, okay? Murasa says to gain education, okay? Maksu says history and facts. The desire to obtain and research information, according to Un. Okay. Effortless English says the need of modern day learners to study history and science. Okay. Ferdov says awareness of information technology, environmental issues. Hassan says skills like technology. Okay. Shaheen says facts and basic knowledge. Hani says history and science. Okay. Gia says the use of ebooks instead of learning through books. Rajveer says to acquire the information. Yeah. Ferdov says creativity. Okay, yeah, so let's just keep it really simple for clarity's sake, okay? So to acquire information and skills for what? Okay, let's say why. Why is there a need for this for modern day learners? Okay. We'll get there. Even if your questions and answers aren't perfect, or you don't have perfect clarity at first, you'll get there. What's more important is just asking the questions. I don't have necessarily perfect clarity yet, but my idea is to move in the direction. Okay, so it's kind of like this. When you're planning your essay, sometimes what happens is, here's your start. Okay, so here's the writer, and here's your start. And you're not sure where your finish is. Your finish could be here, okay? Your finish could be here, or your finish could be here. You're not sure yet, so you don't have a clear picture yet of where your essay is going. But you do know that you have to go in this direction. So you ask a question, like, what is the topic? What is the need of a modern day learner? Then you'll get to a position here because you know that your direction is in this way, okay? Then you'll ask another question, like, why is there a need for this for modern day learners? That will help you to move in a more specific direction. And then you'll get into another question, which in this case will be our how. And then that will help you to get to the right finish point and the right band 9 essay. Okay? You don't have to have crystal clarity at your start. Okay? You just have to have an idea of your direction. And as you refine your thoughts and your ideas, you'll eventually end up with clarity and you'll know where you're going. Is everybody following me there? Sometimes students get really discouraged, or when people are writing, they get really stressed and discouraged because they're frustrated that they can't see the exact finish of where they're supposed to go. And you shouldn't worry about that, okay? Just go step by step and you'll discover the hints or the clues along the way, Okay, everybody clear on that? Okay, so don't think that, you know, every writer jumps from here to here right away. That's not the way the world works, okay? So even the most famous writers, scientists, they follow, there's an idiom for this, they follow the breadcrumbs. Okay, if you know the story of Hansel and Gretel, then you know this. You follow the breadcrumbs, okay? So you're going to follow the breadcrumbs here because this is kind of a difficult question to really answer, okay? This is challenging. It's kind of a college or university level first year question in philosophy or sociology, for example, okay? All right. Okay, so why is there a need for modern day learners to acquire certain types of information? Okay. Okay, so answer that. So Taleb says obtaining knowledge fast-paced will enable learners to get their assignments on time. Shaheen says to work easier with technology to get basic information. Ferdov says because of modern era and regulations to enhance themselves. Why do you do that? Okay, try to think one step further. Okay, so to get good grades in school, yeah, not so much. Okay, let's simplify. Okay, let's visualize. So I'm a farmer, and I need to learn how to milk the cows and how to plant tomatoes. Why? Okay, so if you ever get stuck, think of an example. Okay. Okay. Abhishek says, for bread and butter, right? Okay. So why aren't we learning how to sword fight like the Romans? Okay. If we were born a couple of hundred years ago even, not that long ago, so 200, 300 years ago before the advent of the gun, many men, for sure, would be learning how to use a sword. Okay, but we don't do that anymore. I haven't learned fencing or sword fighting, that's for sure. And I'm guessing most of you haven't either. But our ancestors not so long ago, they sure did. Okay, or how to use a bow and arrow. We don't do that anymore. Okay, so clearly the reason why we learn our modern day knowledge is still the same as our father, our grandfather, our great-grandfather. Okay, there we go. Alex Joseph says, to survive. Okay. Yeah, so that's the simple answer, right? So why is there a need for modern day learners to acquire certain types of information? Because science and history are just certain types of information. Okay, so Rajveer says for sustenance and to evolve. Yeah, so I would say the answer here is to survive and thrive. Okay, everybody knows the difference between these two words, survive versus thrive. Okay, Sammy says to make life easier. Okay. Okay, that's kind of the difference between those two words. Yeah, Abhishek says to prosper. So when we say to survive, it just means to see tomorrow. So I can live today, I can eat today, I can drink today. Maybe not good food, maybe not good water, but I'm going to be here tomorrow. Okay, when you thrive, you don't just survive, but you do it well. So I'm not just simply eating food today, but I'm eating chicken, lobster, chocolate cake. Okay, and I'm having a good time doing it. And tomorrow I'm going to be here doing the same. All right, so that's the difference between survive and thrive. So most of us in the modern world, we hope not just to survive, but we want to thrive as well, right? And the information that we learn in school and in daily life, arguably, for the most part, is dedicated for that goal. Is everybody with me so far? Do you agree? Okay, so yeah, we want to get good grades, but at the end of the day, we want to get good grades to get a good job. We want to get a good job to get good money. We want to get good money so that we can thrive. Okay? All right, now comes a good question, and I think some of you started answering this question as well. So, how do modern day learners learn to achieve this goal? Okay, and in this case, this question is a little bit tricky, and practice asking good questions, everyone. Okay, so I can see that everybody's on board. Practice good questions, everyone. It kind of means like, what do we need to learn? What do we need to learn these days to do this? Okay, so this is kind of the same question here. What do modern day learners learn to achieve this goal, or how do they learn? Okay, these are important points here. So, give me some answers for this. So this is where we get into some interesting facts that are going to be very useful later, okay? So what kind of information, and think about yourself here, okay? Remember what the question is asking. So the question says, give reasons for your answer and include examples from your own knowledge and experience. So what kind of learning, what kind of information are you finding most useful in your life to survive and thrive? How often do you use your knowledge of history, science, or other knowledge? Okay, that's what's going to become useful here. Okay, so think about that. Okay, so it's going to be obviously by learning skills which are relevant to modern context. And what are those? So what are skills that are relevant to the modern context? Okay, and I saw some of you answering this earlier. Carolina says gaining skills. What are those skills? So what skills are you finding most useful? Okay, so Ferdov says understanding information technology. So IT, okay, let's keep it short. Everybody knows what it is. IT. Asya says practical thinking. Okay. Omar, I'm reading the chat. Yes, it's not pre-recorded. Okay. Okay, Taleb says research. Ferdov says creativity. Very good. So, okay. How many, that's fine, Omar. How many of you are using science that you've learned in your everyday life? So how many of you use knowledge of chemistry, physics, biology in your everyday life? Okay. Strategic thinking. So Un says me. All right. Stuti says yes. Raj says I do. Ferdov says I do. Yeah, Ahmed says me. Okay, and every time that you have to use your knowledge of science or history, do you run to a computer and search on the internet? So when, I don't know how, maybe some of you are pharmacists, some of you are doctors, some of you are architects, some of you are engineers, some of you are chemists. Every time that you have a situation, do you go, oh, just a second, dear patient, I'm just going to Google that disease and see what I can find out about it in past history so that I can give you a good... So do you use it every time, the internet, in your profession? Yes or no? Careful with my question. I'm asking you every time, not often or sometimes, but every time. Okay, so Honey says no. Rajveer thinks that's quite funny. Gaming says yes. Okay, Sieta says never. I don't know about you, but I would be really worried if I went to a professional and every professional I went to, they had to check the internet before giving me any kind of advice. So Carolina says sometimes, right? So no, it would be a little bit frightening, right? So science, chemistry, biology, history, math. Those are some important skills that we use in our daily life. Okay, all right. So Amrita says, I'm a nurse, and obviously you don't run to use the internet every time a patient asks you a question about biology. Okay, all right. Some of you are saying yes every time, but let me tell you, that makes me a little bit worried. Okay, all right. Okay, so good. I think everybody gets the idea now. Okay, so remember what I said about you're starting here, and then you know that your essay is somewhere in this cloud here. You don't know where exactly, but you kind of know the direction. And with your questions, you navigate through these thoughts, and you then specifically are able to arrive at your essay. Okay, so certainly the internet, okay, the thought that I've come to here is certainly the internet has made factual knowledge of science and history learning less important as other skills have emerged as very important, but it has not made learning these obsolete. Okay, so through going through these steps, okay, let me just quickly recap here with everyone. All right, so all I did is, and you do this quickly, okay? You have 40 minutes, so you take about 3-4 minutes, and I'm following the chat. I see everybody there, but for the next 2 minutes, I'd like you to just follow with me and with my thinking. This is the kind of thinking I'd like you to use when you think about these IELTS questions and about questions, essay questions in university. Navneet, obsolete means unnecessary or useless. Okay. All right. So here we go. Okay. So I get to my task 2 question in the IELTS exam. I'm looking at this question. Firstly, I read it. You should spend 40 minutes on this task. Some people believe that the internet has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include examples from your own knowledge or experience. Okay, fine. First, I paraphrase it just to make sure I'm clear on this question. Certain individuals ascertain that the World Wide Web has decreased the utility of learning facts about the past in science. Do you support or disapprove of this opinion? Give a logical argument for your position and include examples from your own studies and past. Okay, fine. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I writing about here? I'm writing about the need of modern day learners to study history and science. And the controlling idea around it is that people don't need to do it as much. Okay, the internet has made this need not obsolete, but decrease. Okay, all right. So here we go. I thought about the why. So why is there a need for modern day learners to acquire information? Okay, well, if I visualize here and I'm thinking just about a simple idea of why a person needs to learn certain types of information, then I think about a farmer who needs to learn how to milk a cow and plant tomato seeds. So obviously we're learning at the end of the day because we want to survive and we want to thrive. Okay, so how do modern day learners achieve this goal of thriving and surviving in the global community? while by learning skills that are relevant to their context. And modern day learners have to be dynamic. They need a lot of knowledge of information technology, how to use computers, computer software, various types of program. They need creative thinking. Well-paid jobs are management level jobs, jobs in research, in medicine, law. These all require strategic thinking. And they do require a certain degree of history, math, and science. Okay, so what is my conclusion and my thoughts? That the internet has made factual knowledge of science and history learning less important because it's more easily accessed, and there are other skills that have emerged as important, partly because of the internet, because of the technology. Okay? All right, but obviously it's not obsolete, so this information is still needed to some extent. Now I can create a clear thesis statement. Okay? All right, so your thesis statement is your argument. It's your argument of your essay. It has to be your best sentence. Okay, and it must show your reader what you will discuss in your essay, not just simply telling them that I will discuss this in your essay. Okay? Yeah, Shaheen, absolutely, of course. That's exactly what I'm showing you here, is that you need to ask yourself good questions. Good essays start with good questions from yourself to create a good thesis. Okay? All right, everybody write a thesis statement and then we'll compare it. Okay, so we'll compare among each other, and I'm going to write a thesis statement as well. Okay, and then we'll see what goes on. Okay, so okay. So that would be my thesis. I might rework that a little bit, but I have a clear idea here. Okay? All right. So here's my thesis. I don't see a lot of thesis statements coming up yet, but again, it's my support of the idea. So I would say I completely support the idea that the internet has reduced the need for modern day learners to concentrate as much on historical and scientific facts in their studies, as the World Wide Web not only provides convenient access to such information, but also creates a demand for alternative skills to thrive in society. Okay? So with this thesis, the examiner knows that a person who wrote this has given the question deep thought and has come up with two clear points: convenient access and alternative skills, which will be discussed in the essay. So everybody sees that? So convenient access. So why is there a decreased need? Because of convenient access, point one, and because of alternative skills to thrive. Point 2. All right. So 1DFF Gaming, I explained thrive earlier in the essay. So now there's clear direction here, okay? Keep in mind, students, a Band 7 to Band 9 essay depends a lot more on content than just simply English. Okay, everybody following with me so far, hopefully. Okay. So, now I can write the introduction. The introduction has 3 parts. It has a hook, background, and thesis. I'm going to write it for you here real quick. All I need is my hook and my background, and then I'm going to explain it to you, and I'm going to explain how this is standard English literature for argumentative essays, and this is what you're looking at for a Band 9 essay. Okay? All right. And I see some of those thesis statements have come up now, which is great. There was a lot of chatter earlier. Okay. So Asya says, I firmly support the fact that the internet has not reduced the requirement of studying history and science. Rather, it has advanced itself by many aspects as a whole. Asya, I think that's confusing. Okay, I think you're creating a very difficult essay for yourself that's going to become quite confusing. Nagaiman says, in my opinion, I agree with this notion on just one or the other, okay? So I agree with this notion as the web has partially decreased the desire of factual information in history and science as it provides people data quickly and comfortably, okay? You only have 1 point in your thesis, okay? 1 clear point. All right. Rajveer says, I agree with the notion that the internet has decreased the need for people to learn facts in history and science as individuals can effortlessly get the required knowledge and advanced skills to enjoy life. Okay, Rajveer, I kind of get where you're going. You'll have to develop that essay further for it to be 100% clear on my end. Okay. Alex says, I strongly believe that the World Wide Web has reduced the need to study science and history. People need to find out more skills and be competitive in order to survive in the modern era. Okay, Alex, I think you have 1 thesis point there. Okay, so let me write the introduction, put it together, and then you'll kind of see where we're going with it. So, hook. Okay, so there's my hook. An interesting fact, including the topic, the content of modern day learners, to catch the reader's attention. The knowledge taught to each generation of humans differs from the past. It's arguably true. If I think about what I learned in school versus what kids are learning in school today, what my grandparents learned in school, the knowledge is always different, whether it's the science part, whether it's physical education, creative thinking, it's changing, or sword fighting, as I said earlier, right? So Okay, that's my background information, and now comes my thesis. I'm just going to take that and stick it in. And add a connective, and I'm off to the races. Okay, so here is my introductory paragraph for this question. Okay, again, let's take a quick look at the question, then look at this introduction, and you'll see how a Band 9 introduction looks with a hook, background, and thesis. Okay, so here we go. This was the original question. Task 2, spend 40 minutes on this task. Some people believe that the internet has reduced the need for studying facts in history and science. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include examples from your knowledge or experience. First person essay, I'm using I, me, my. It's asking for my knowledge and my experience. Okay, I show that first person voice right away in my introductory paragraph. Here we go. The knowledge taught to each generation of humans differs from the past. The best school curriculum prepares learners to not only survive but also to thrive in society. And traditionally, for the past few generations, this has included a concentration on both history and science. However, times have changed and so have the needs of modern day people. Therefore, I completely support the idea that the internet has reduced the need for modern day learners to concentrate as much on historical and scientific facts in their studies, as the World Wide Web not only provides convenient access to such information, but also creates a demand for alternative skills to thrive in society. Okay? And because I've used the word thrive, I'm going to use a synonym prosper, okay? And then just stick in a missing article here that I caught. And there we go. Okay, so that would be considered your Band 9 introduction. Okay, does everybody see how I got to that? So I didn't know that I was going to write this when I started thinking about the question. In order to get to this, I first paraphrased to make sure I understand the question. Then I asked some important questions such as, what is the topic? What are the controlling ideas? And then I asked what, why, how about those. I was visualizing. I thought about what I've learned in school. I thought about why I needed to learn that in school. Okay? So, we will continue this essay tomorrow. This was a fairly challenging question. Okay? Again, it was a question that was on one of the past IELTS exams not so long ago. It was submitted by a student who got this question on their IELTS exam. All right? Sometimes you end up with these kinds of challenging questions and you really have to do some quick, clever thinking to come up with some good answers. Okay? Navjot, if you write a diplomatic view of this and that, it will make for quite a weak essay. Okay? Amira, curriculum is the plan that's taught in a school. So if you're learning math today and you're learning chemistry tomorrow, and biology the day after, that is your curriculum. Okay? Yeah, Stuti, it is a bit cryptic, and that's what I was showing you, is when you feel like the question is a bit cryptic, the essay feels a bit cryptic, then you have to really go step by step to get closer to the right direction. Okay? All right. Okay, everyone, come back tomorrow. We'll finish the essay with the body paragraphs and the conclusion. Thank you so much for being here with me today. That was a challenging class, but I like to throw these more difficult classes at you because the IELTS can surprise you with some fairly difficult questions, okay? Carolina, you're very welcome. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. If it's late in your country, sweet dreams to you. Check us out when you have a minute at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general. We've got lots more help for you on those websites. Join our premium courses. It's well worth it. Goodbye, everyone. I'm Adrian, signing out from Central Europe. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.